Shortly after making his comments, the former intelligence chief began talks with opposition parties, a move he says the protesters have been calling for.
I speak freely. My feeling is that there is a response that previously they said that the constitution should not be amended until after the election. So this is a big change. So this is a response to the youth pulse.
Well, as the protesters enter day 8, food lines are growing in Cairo, along with frustration. It's not just bread, beans and other staples that are becoming scarce. The cash to pay for them is hard to come by as well. While some see the chaos as part of a revolution, others see it very differently. Arwa Damon is in Cairo with the details.
This is not the capital that many Egyptians recognize, nor is it one they want the outside world to see. Residents line up at a popular bread factory amid fears of a food shortage. As we are filming from a bridge, this man starts yelling at us to stop. "Why are you filming?" he shouts. "Is this a nice image? It's ugly." He threatens to break our camera. In the chaos at another bread line, a woman tells us they want Mubarak to stay. The men angrily yell at us to leave.
This is the second neighborhood that we've come to where we've seen people getting incredibly aggressive, not wanting to be filmed in this kind of a situation.
The same woman meets us at the car and apologizes for the way we are treated. "It's because of this terrible situation that we are in," she explains. "We are good people. We're sorry." Most shops in Cairo are shut. It's not just food shortages that are of rising concern.
Another problem that Egyptians are facing is just getting money. Banks are all closed. The screens on ATM machines dark. If a person doesn't have cash in hand, they're facing a serious problem.
Across the capital, normal life has been paralyzed.
A number of gas stations that we've been driving by have been closed, some of them because of security reasons where owners don't want to be filmed. Others, like this one, because they quite simply ran out of fuel and are not sure when stocks are going to be arriving.
Away from the demonstrators, we found a population increasingly frustrated and angry.
Tell us right now, what is on your mind? Why are you so upset?
I'm upset with the revolutions in Meydan al-Tahrir. It doesn't represent us. It doesn't represent our opinion. We here sticking with Hosni Mubarak only. Give him time to work and then he can go, but peacefully.
Who is going to govern Egypt, she asks, switching to Arabic. A group of youth? Don't demonstrate. Talk to the government.
Why is everybody so angry with the media?
Because it doesn't give a very good picture about us.
An argument breaks out with another woman, and we are again forced to stop filming. However torn this nation is becoming, the demonstrators are determined to weather it out no matter what.
What are you doing about things like food, money, because we're hearing, there's food shortage, there's a cash shortage.
People here are supporting each other, My neighbor gave us food and gave us water and all what we need, okay? All the store also are supporting the people.
For some, these chaotic events are the stirrings of freedom. For other Egyptians, they mark the onset of anarchy. Arwa Damon, CNN, Cairo.
We have some extraordinary images showing just how tense the situation is on the streets of Cairo. This amateur video shows a confrontation between security forces and a gathering crowd. Shots are fired and the threat seems to subside as the crowd starts chanting, "The people and the army are one." Then just watch this. Extremely dramatic picture there indeed. You can see the emotion on the faces of all of those people there, security forces and protesters alike. Well, Egypt's tourism industry, meanwhile, has taken a big hit. And during this time of unrest and uncertainty, there's a big push to protect one of the ancient wonders of the world. Ivan Watson joins us now from Cairo. Ivan.
Hi, Anjali. We have seen from the newly designated Vice President Omar Suleiman a statement on state television during which he called for dialogue with opposition parties, during which he said, yes, I understand that the youth of this country do have concerns, the protest movement very much driven by the youth of Egypt. And he also pointed out that the latest disruptions have probably caused more than $1 billion worth of damage to the Egyptian economy. Meanwhile, in the streets of the Egyptian capital throughout Monday, we saw a dramatic increase in the amount of soldiers and tanks posted throughout this city. Take a look at this report.
One of the world's most famous landmarks, now guarded by army tanks.
Soldiers have been deployed all around this city, and the tanks are even parked here at one of the ancient wonders of the world, the Great Pyramids of Giza.
An army officer insisted the pyramids are still open for tourists, but the soldiers wouldn't let us come any closer. On Monday, the troop presence was dramatically increased in Cairo. Soldiers trained to defend their country from foreign enemies, now taking on the duties of largely absent police. An effort to restore law and order in a frightened city, bearing the scars of several days and nights of unrest.
This is part of what has Egyptians so scared right now. A number of hotels and cabarets and casinos like this that were torched and looted in the first days of the protests.
Most of the businesses in town are still closed, with the normal working day cut in half by a curfew that started at 3 p.m. Egyptians had a few short hours to shop for groceries. Among those foraging for food in largely empty streets, this family from Taiwan stranded while on vacation, hoping to catch a flight out of the country on Tuesday. After a week of sweeping historic changes, some Egyptians taking it upon themselves to clean up the debris left by days of protests.
There is a civic-minded dimension to this protest movement. Here we've come to this street, and ordinary people, they're not being paid to do this. These are volunteers, students, demonstrators who are out cleaning up the streets. Is somebody paying you to clean these streets?
No, somebody pay me. No, I'm volunteer. I'm come, no pay, no money, no.
And why are you volunteering?
Because this is my country. No reasons. This is my country, I wanted to clean it.
What is going to happen to your country?
I don't know, but I wanted better. That's all I want, to be better and to have a God president.
After years of fear, these Egyptians are no longer afraid to repeat this simple demand. They want a better government.
Now, Anjali, late Monday night, Tahrir Square, that has been the focal point of these demonstrations, these rowdy demonstrations and rallies against the presidency of Hosni Mubarak, it started evolving into looking a little bit more like a sit-in. We had demonstrators setting up tents, lighting campfires beneath the palm trees there, seemingly claiming that piece of territory and saying they're going to hold on to it and continue to use it as a symbol of defiance against the Egyptian government. Anjali?
Now, the government has made several concessions recently, reshuffling the cabinet, Ivan, and also leaving the door open for reform. How has that gone down with the demonstrators?
Not very well. In fact, some of the names that have been put forward, for example, the Vice President Omar Suleiman, he's been the head of the Mukhabarat, the intelligence, for more than a decade and is viewed as a close ally of Hosni Mubarak. Today, the new interior minister was sworn in, General Mohammed Wagdi. He is a man who was known to run the prison system here in Cairo, not seen as a new face. We're not seeing somebody brought into the cabinet right now, such as we saw in Tunisia after the overthrow of the president there, an opposition blogger brought in. And these are figures that are associated with Hosni Mubarak, and as a result, they have been denounced by opposition parties here thus far.
It's shaping up to be a rather interesting and surely emotive day with these million-man marches, Ivan, being called for. Tell us about what's expected and also what the military's role is in all of this, as they do appear to be friendly to both sides.
That's going to be a big question. If, in fact, large numbers of people converge, if it's possible to gather 1 million people when the government has already announced that the train network is being shut down, and now a source in the information ministry telling CNN that once again the cell phone networks are likely to be shut down, and internet has been down as well over the course of the past several days. Difficult to know how many people can actually be assembled with these obstacles. And the military is out in force in larger numbers than we've seen in previous days. It's going to be very important to see what kind of a role they're going to take if large numbers of people converge here. So far, they have worked closely, at least here in the center of Cairo, with the demonstrators. They've also worked very closely with the self-defense groups that have established themselves in neighborhoods to protect homes and families and businesses from the wave of lawlessness that we've seen over the course of the last week. Some of the ways that this supposed million...
Ah, what a shame. We do appear to have lost Ivan Watson there live in Cairo. Try to get back to him when we can. Now, though, Israel's Prime Minister says he is worried Islamic extremists could seize an opening and exert their influence in Egypt. Benjamin Netanyahu talked about it on Monday after meeting with German Chancellor Angela Merkel. Fionnuala Sweeney joins me from CNN Jerusalem with more.